Hello guys and welcome to a new video on this channel. And today we're gonna finally work on tech again, like physically work on tech again. So what we're gonna do today we're gonna work on this thing here. The Lenovo Yoga Tab the Lenovo Yoga Tab 3 Pro 10. That's an interesting name. I got this tablet from my boss, who knows that I repaired certain devices, and he told me, can you fix this, because he dropped his tablet. This is his work tablet. So what we're gonna do today, well, obviously we're gonna replace the display of this tablet. Now I have never done this before, so you will follow along with me as I do this for the first time. So without further ado, let's repair this Yoga Tab 3 Pro 10. That name. Now, what do we need for this repair? Well, obviously you need your yoga tablet, of course. The other thing you will need, now of course this is a bit overkill, but I have this. If you screw a lot around with your devices, literally, if you repair a lot of devices, this kit from iFixit, which is an amazing screwdriver toolkit, will just provide you with all the screws that you need. This is not sponsored, this is just me shouting them out because they're an amazing company, and if you do a lot of repair stuff, this is the screwdriver kit to get. There's everything in there, especially if you want to work on Apple related stuff. Every screwdriver is in there that you need. For this repair we probably will only need this standard cross screwdriver, so you probably will have this lying around somewhere. It should be a little smaller one, because again, you will see screws on technical products are way smaller than normal regular screws that we know. But anyway, you need a screwdriver, or if you want to go overkill like I did, or you work a lot on different devices, a great screwdriver kit. Or of course, if you don't want to buy this, you will just get this. This is normally what you get with your repair display or replacement display. I'll show you this of course as well, because of course if you want to repair the display, replace the display, you need the replacement display. It's still in package, of course, just because I don't want to damage it. Displays are very fragile, be careful with them, they're very thin, you can hurt them a lot if you just like bend them accidentally or you drop them. So be careful about this all. Just leave this in here in this protective foil, in this bubble foil, just for now till we need it. With every good repair kit you also get like glue strips to glue it back together, because displays most of the time are glued to the device. Not screwed but glued, because it's cheaper, because they literally want to screw with you. Ha ha ha, I'm so funny. And you always get a screwdriver and a plier with the kit, because I mean, how else would you want to open the device? So normally, if you don't have this amazing screwdriver kit, you also get the screwdrivers you need with those replacement kits. So now that we got everything, it's time to replace the display. By the way, something I also have to mention, of course, whenever you work on a device, turn it off before you work on it. Always make sure you turn it off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn the Yoga around, because the Yoga Tab 3 Pro 10, this name is very hard to pronounce actually, is a very special tablet, because you have a built-in projector right here in this mount or this stand, which if you press this button goes upwards. So the whole projector is in here, so we don't have to worry about this, since what we want to do is get to this here, the screen. So we're gonna leave the stand like this, because we need to get to the screws that hold this assembly here in place. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this away here. This is the warranty sticker. Now, a warning for all guys that want to do this on their own. If you still have warranty for this device, don't pull this away, because then your warranty is over. This is the warranty void sticker. But if you don't have the warranty, you'll peel it off. So I'll just peel this warranty off, because 3 screws are hidden behind this warranty sticker. Now what we're also gonna do is just to make sure, is we pull this thing here up. This here is the place where the mini SD or the micro SD card goes. We'll pull this up with our fingernail, and then we'll just pull this away, and we can get the micro SD card out. Just again in case, because sometimes when you pull the device apart, the micro SD card can possibly make the parts of the device get jammed, and then it's very annoying, and the card could break or the reader could break. So just get the card out just to be sure. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our cross screwdriver, and we're just gonna screw the first 3 screws out. Leave the kickstand like it is now in the upward position, because if we turn the device now around, it's easier to work on the display because the display is in this upward position. So what we're going to do now might be a bit scary for a lot of you guys. So I'm going to take this plier and we'll get it between the display and the frame. So we'll get this plier exactly between the display and the frame. The easiest probably way, or the easiest starting point, because normally devices are made so perfectly that you don't have any possible way of getting in there with a plier. So what you probably should do is look at the point where your screen broke, because if your device fell down and maybe even cracked a bit shell wise, you normally on those points can get into the device way easier. Well, that's where you normally should start. It's easier for you that way and saves you a lot of hassle. So we're gonna go around the whole device now. So be careful, of course, and patient. The very most important thing about this is be patient. Force doesn't help here. So as you can see, I'm in the device now and I'm pushing the frame away from the display. I can already feel the frame going away. You should also feel this. You should feel the frame moving away from the display. And normally after all of that, yeah, I can already feel that, you should see that the display kind of lifts up. That's exactly what we want to do. We want to separate the display from the chassis. I'm also going to go back to this position now, because I feel like here it's not yet out fully. Yes, and this can happen too, by the way, if you use a bit too much force. So always have a little plier available. So what you also should do is go around these corners here, because as you can see the chassis is kind of going this way. So try to separate this. It's not easy, but you can do it with enough patience. Be very gentle with the device. Keep calm. It took quite a bit for me now as well. That's normal. I know those tutorials that always say, oh, you just do this and oh, it perfectly lifts. This is not reality, and this is what I want to show you with my tutorials. I'll show you how it really is. Sometimes it just takes a bit. You have to wait a bit. And if you are patient, you don't use a lot of force, then normally this will happen to you as well. The whole thing just lifts, and there you go. You are now inside the Yoga Tab. So first side we can see the battery from Lenovo smiling back at us, and here's the whole main board. It's always interesting to see how devices are made. Now we have to take off some cables. Now what do we have to do? Well, we're just gonna deattach the cables. So we're gonna look for any cable that might interfere or might break. Now I see 3 cables here. We see this cable right there, which is connected to the battery. We see this cable. I guess this is the one that goes to the LCD because it wraps around here. And I think this is the one that goes to the camera, but then again, I might be wrong about this. So no, actually I can see it. Here's the camera ribbon cable, and this one might be for the projector, but that's just me guessing. So we of course will disconnect all of these cables, just to be sure. Now, I will disconnect those 3, and what I normally do is I try to disconnect everything that just loosely looks like it could be in the way of removing the display, because just be careful about this and just be patient, because the more careful you are and the more preventive you are in advance, the less you will break something. So what I normally do always first is disconnect the battery, because as soon as the battery is fully disconnected, you don't have any power going through the device anymore, and that way you don't have that much risk anymore of breaking something. Now, I've removed those 2 screws, and now I can just lift the metal thing, the little metal thing here that holds the battery in place. Here it is. Again, take this piece and put it to the resembling screws, just to be sure to have some kind of order so you know which goes where. And then you take your plier and just gently pull up the ribbon cable, and there you go. That's it. Again, be careful with those ribbon cables. Some can take some stress, but normally you can easily break them. Now we're just going to continue up here. This is also held down by a metal piece. We're just going to screw this. I'm going to try to do this with one hand so you can see what I'm doing. It's not that easy, so be patient with me. So here we go. Again, put it somewhere where you know where it belongs to. And then again, push this piece up here. And we're gonna deattach the camera ribbon cable. Be careful about it, gentle. There we go. And we're also gonna deattach this one. There you go, both deattached. And sometimes they're a bit glued also to the surface. Just make sure it doesn't stick to the surface. Can be gentle when pushing them up. And then there are those two here. So now we always push the cables up. Those cables are just stuck into a connector. So what you do is you gently take them. Normally you take pliers. Then you just very gently, you pull on them. See, one is out already. Again, be very gentle with this. Some can take more abuse than others. There you go. We have it. Again, I recommend you taking tweezers for this just to be sure. So what we're gonna do now, I zoomed in so you can see here's the battery, and as I said, this is the cable for the display. As you can see, it wraps around there to the display. What we're gonna do is, we disconnected this already, but the problem is this cable right here, we need to get this out, of course. So we need to loosen it from the plastic here. And what you do is you take your tweezer, and then as you can see, you can't really with me, wait, I'm gonna do it like this, then you can see something. Just gently, see, push very gently, and you don't want to break this. And once you're in, just, and there you go, it just lifts, and that's exactly what you want, because now you can pull this out. We already removed the chassis, but now we also need to get the display out. The display, as you can see, is still glued in here. Now I'm back. What I did, and this is what you have to do, this is very important, guys, very important. Now you will heat up this display. Take a regular hairdryer. I know this isn't very professional. You can buy like iFixit, like heating pads. If you have this, great, use the heating pads. But what you have to do is go around the edge of the display and heat it up. Make it hot. Don't overdo it, of course, like use the hairdryer and blow at it for like, try for 2 minutes. And once you're done with those 2 minutes or 3 minutes, what you're going to do is you're going to turn around the display again, and you're going to look at the edge. Because normally, I'll try to show it to you. I don't know if you can pick it up over here. But as you can see, the screen, that's the thing that's protruding here. So this is the normal frame, as you can see, and the screen is protruding a bit here. And this protrusion here is the part where you can get in with your plier. I can't do it now. I can actually show you, see? This is the part where you can actually go in with your plier. Now, please don't take this plier and ram it into the device fully. Don't do it. If there's any important cable exactly where you ram it in, you might break them, and then your device can be dead. Now, just gently use the tip of your plier as I show you here, and just once you did this, go around. Now, this might take a while. This again is a part where you have to be patient. And if you can see, like with me, it doesn't go easily because, you know, the screen is glued to the frame, and they really, of course, want it to stick. So it takes an effort. And if it doesn't go off easily, don't worry. Just really do this. Just again, turn it around, heat it up again, and do this as often as you need to. Just be careful, take your time, be patient, and then continue going around. And after a while, you will notice it'll get easier, the screen will move bit by bit, and just do this again around the whole frame. So what you do is, you do this for the whole frame, and after you're done, normally the screen should lift out. So I'm gonna do this now, and then we'll be back. The more you work on this device, also this area is a bit frustrating to get into, because you have to like kind of get in here, and then you kind of get in here from that angle, and that is a bit frustrating. But once you've done this, as you can see, there you go. Now it's loose, you heard it, you even saw it, and now you can you see, this is the area where it still struggles. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in there again, and what we're gonna do is just gonna go in there. Now it's, yes, and you can feel it once it's loose, when the glue is gone. And there we go, we have a loose display. I even can show you now the glue. Look, here you can see the glue still holding on to the device. Now, it's a very good glue, I can tell you, because wow, it really held up. But now, once we can see the display and we can look where the cable is and where the display is, we can get the rest of the glue off. And now we have, hallelujah, a loose display, as you can see. Now what we're going to do is, we don't want to damage this display, even though it's the broken one. So what you have to do is, you have to get this cable, and while getting out the display, you need to try to get, as you can see, here is a little opening. And you need to kind of like maneuver this cable through that opening. It's not that hard, just be careful. And then, there's still some glue on there. And just like, and then you just lift. And all that work paid off in the end. Because there it is. We finally got the display out. Now, we need to do something. We need to get the original display again. Because there's still a cable we need. Don't get scared, because you saw this cable here before. And you looked at this display and you were like, no, there's a cable missing, I bought the wrong display. No, calm down. It's here, and you can just, with a bit of gentle force, you can get it out. So this is this cable. So we'll take this from the original display. We're gonna take this side here that says LCD and push it into the LCD. So this is the LCD side, and this is the main board side, so it's also labeled. So this is the side that goes into the main board, and this is the side that goes right here in. So the first thing that we do is we gently take this and we'll get this cable in there. Now be gentle with it. There's a little flappy part here, and you have to push that part up so that it allows you to get this cable in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this cable. And this is a very finicky part, so don't, again, as always, the mantra here is don't get frustrated. It needs to be fully in. There we go. Now that the cable's in there, we can actually start working on reassembling the whole device. Now, we have all the cables connected. Well, now we can just put them through the gaps and that's it, right? No. We have to put some glue on those corners again where we removed the glue. Now why? First of all, it's easier to do it now and then push the display on. But secondly, this display, as we removed, obviously all the glue won't hold, of course. And we don't want the display just falling out randomly. So what we're going to do is, we'll take those glue strips. Hopefully you get them also with your replacement screen. This is how it should be. If not, buy them separately. They're very, I'll show you, they're very small strips. You'll just put them around the corner, and then once you did that, we can glue in the display. So do that and we'll be right back, just around the frame. Now I've pulled off the cover of all those glue strips. Now they're still on there, but you can't see them anymore. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna get those cables here through those holes right here. So this cable, the orange one, goes through this one. The very small one down there, and this cable right here goes through this hole. So we're gonna do that now, and I'll do this probably, I'll try to show it to you, but the thing is, you have to be very careful with those cables. Sorry for the change of camera, but the actual repair process took so long that the battery of my camera died, but we're back, and the display now is fully in. Now what I did, as you can see here, I just let the cables through those holes. Be careful with it, be gentle with it, especially with this cable and this. Just be careful to not rip those cables, okay? And once you did that, you'll see why it's good that we already put the glue strips on beforehand, because now I just pressed onto the display. I made sure it's as perfectly in as possible, and then you just press on the display, try to let it be as perfectly in as it was with the original, and you can see once you press on there, it really holds, it really sticks to the frame, and it can't fall out on its own. And you don't have to like then finically try to remove the cover of the strips, because you did that already and you don't have to worry about it, and it's just way easier that way. Okay, so then now that we did that, we can finally turn to the back of the display, and now we just have to reconnect all the cables. So we're gonna start with this one here. Again, make sure to flip that little plastic holder up so that you can also put the cable in, otherwise it isn't possible. And once you did that, push it down, and then it just holds on to like nothing happened. Then we're gonna take the other cable that was on top of the black cable, and we're gonna find its original spot. Now for the orange cable, I've got myself some tweezers because this cable is really perfectly made to fit perfectly in. Now, really push this part to the case so that you have the full length of the cable, because at first it might seem like this cable doesn't fit. But believe me, it does. If you push it down, it'll have enough length to go in there. Because for a second I also panicked. I thought, oh no, the cable is stuck somewhere and I glued the display already on. I am done. I fucked up. But I didn't. Now again, like with any other process, the key is be patient. Yeah, and there you go. Once you're patient, after some tries, you'll do it and it's in. And once it's in, you can forget about it. Just be careful with it so that you don't rip it. And that's the easier part, because we have already connected the harder one. And this one is just a cable that we have to push on. Of course, make sure to know which goes where. Just look at the connector, then look on the connectors on the board. Now the orange one goes there to this small connector. You can kind of see it from just where it's positioned. Now just find the right angle. Again, don't use force. If it doesn't go in at first, try to reposition the cable, but don't just try to ram it in. That's not how it works. You'll notice when the connector is in, because then it like snaps, it makes a slight clicking sound. And now we can actually put all the brackets on again. So we're going to take all the brackets that we had before, align them. We'll take our screwdriver, and now we can screw it all in again. Now we're going to connect the battery. Now you even could hear this clicking sound that snapping sound. And now we're also going to connect this little bracket. I'm going to take the two screws, and again, if you had a system of putting the screws in order, you will have no problem with putting the right screws in the right holes in order to not screw something up. I know you see everything now, sorry. And there we go. Again, also a little tip: when you screw something in, you can feel when it's fully in, and once it feels tight to you, I always turn it back just a bit so that it isn't like fully tight, because you'll thank yourself if you will work on this device again one day, because if you like fully pull the screws in, they're very hard to get out again and they might strip. The risk of stripping them is higher, so if you don't fully ram them into the device, it's just easier to get them out again. Just a little precaution. Now we can finally put the lid on again. Now, normally for me, those two buttons fell out when I pulled the lid off. So what you have to do, because you can't, if you put the lid on now and you don't put those two buttons back in place, well, you have to pull the lid off again, and you don't want to do that, right? So we're going to place those buttons now. So what we're going to do is this button goes right here, because this is the release for the latch. As you can see here, this is how the release works. And we're going to place the button right there. Just kind of line it up. It'll do, the rest will be done on its own. And this button right here goes to that side. So what we're going to do is we'll take the cover, find this hole exactly, and we're just going to put the button in already. Right? Now, gently, be careful that the button doesn't fall out. You'll take the lid and you put it on again. And then, again, keyword, gently here. Really, honestly, I mean it. Gently push on the device. If something doesn't go on the first try, don't ram it. Don't take a sledgehammer and bash it on there, because then something might break, and it would be really annoying if you fail at like the second last step. So what we're going to do is to just gently press on, and you'll hear it, because after a while, there you go, it will snap into place. And once it's snapped on those two sides here, right there, push here first, then it snaps in there, turn it around, and now just press gently on the display, on the corners and at the edge of the display. The goal should be that the frame and the display make a unison line where you cannot see any little space through there. It should be perfectly fit together. And once you think, okay, I aligned it perfectly, you also look at the buttons that you just inserted and look if they actually work. Because if you're a bit unlucky, they might get jammed and then it doesn't work and then you have to pull everything off again. It's a bit annoying, but just to make sure they both work. And if they both work like they do now, you can finally do the very last step. And that is taking those 3 screws that we removed in the beginning and putting them in again. And also when you screw the screws in, push the plastic down just gently a bit so that the screw can really grip on its screw hole. Now if you're a real completionist, you can also, just for looks, put the warranty sticker on there. Just remember, it's really just for looks at this point. And once we did that too, we just take the device, push the lid down, look if this mechanism still works perfectly. And now, after we did all of this and the device looks like new, the moment of truth, the moment that's always scary when you do device repairs, you push the power button and wait. And, in my case, the screen turns on and you can be happy. Now, as you can see, it's turning on. I'll remove this cover now, because now I know it works and I can just pull it off. We have a working display, guys, and that means, and now where normally there would be a big crack right here at the screen, we now have another beautiful screen. It looks spotless, like nothing happened. And now what you should also do is just test if everything works, if the touch screen works. I mean, we already heard the sound works. I also could feel the vibrations. And just, I mean, I always do this when I repair something, just also check if the camera works. Both cameras still work, just to make sure, especially if you do this for a friend, to make sure. So just gonna look. So this is probably, yeah, this is the back camera, that works definitely. How do I switch to the front camera? I don't know. Wait, let me figure it out. I'll do it. There we go. We'll flip the camera. Yeah, there we go. And it works. And you can see my camera too. Yes, camera reception. And that, guys, in the end, means we did it. So that's this video, guys. We actually did it. I'm really proud of myself because it was the first time I ever worked on a Lenovo tablet. I hope that this video also helped you with the screen replacement of your Lenovo Yoga Tab 3 Pro 10. And if you have any questions regarding the whole replacement process, if you're stuck on any part, if you're like, no, I can't figure this out, oh my god, what do I have to do? If you're freaking out because something doesn't look the way like it did in my video, just write a comment down below. I'll try to answer as many and each and every single comment as I can. Thank you for watching, guys. See you in the next video. Till later.